Thomas Reed heard the shouting before he reached the town square. A crowd had gathered, their voices ugly with hatred, and in the center stood a young Apache woman bound with ropes, her face bloody but defiant. 3 men held rifles on her while the sheriff looked away, unwilling or unable to stop what was about to happen. Someone shouted that she'd stolen cattle. Another voice claimed she'd attacked a homesteader. The accusations didn't matter. Thomas could see the truth in their eyes. They'd already decided she would die. He pushed through the crowd, his heart pounding. Thomas had kept to himself for 5 years, running his small ranch on the edge of the territory, avoiding conflict, avoiding connection. He'd learned that safety came from invisibility. But standing there, watching them prepare to execute this woman for crimes she likely didn't commit, something in him snapped. The part of him that had stayed silent when his own brother was lynched in Missouri, the part that had run west to escape that guilt, couldn't stay silent anymore. Stop. His voice cut through the noise. The crowd turned, surprised to see the quiet rancher who never came to town unless necessary. You can't do this. The man holding the rope, a rancher named Dixon, sneered at him. Stay out of this, Reed. This savage killed Jim Patterson's cattle. We got justice to deliver. Thomas stepped closer to the woman. Up close, he could see she was younger than he'd thought, maybe 20, with fierce dark eyes that held no fear despite the blood on her temple. You have proof? He demanded. Witnesses? Or are you just looking for an excuse? Before we continue, pause for a moment and tell me in the comments which country you're watching this from. These stories of courage need to travel far. Dixon's face reddened. Everyone knows the Apache are thieves. Don't need more proof than that. The crowd murmured agreement. Thomas felt sick. This was Missouri all over again. Different victims, same hatred, same cowardice dressed up as justice. He looked at the sheriff, a weak man named Turnbull. You going to let this happen? Lynch someone without a trial? Turnbull shifted uncomfortably. Well, Reed, feelings are running high, and she is Apache. Her people have raided homesteads. Thomas turned back to the crowd, his voice rising. Her people? She's one woman, bound and beaten. You want to murder her because you're too afraid to face actual raiders. You want to kill her because it's easier than admitting you're just scared? You defending a savage, Reed. Dixon stepped forward, rifle raised. Maybe you need to remember whose side you're on? Thomas met his eyes without flinching. I'm on the side that doesn't murder defenseless people. And if you want to hang her, you'll have to go through me first. The crowd hesitated. Thomas was known as a man who kept his word, who never backed down once committed. He was also known to be quick with a gun, though he'd never drawn on anyone in this territory. Dixon laughed nervously. You die for an Apache? You've lost your mind. Maybe, Thomas said quietly. Or maybe I'm tired of watching good people stand by while evil happens. Your choice, Dixon. Hang an innocent woman and make an enemy of me, or let her go and keep whatever decency you have left. If this moment of courage is moving you, hit that like button right now. The standoff lasted an eternity. Finally, the sheriff stepped forward, seeing an escape from his cowardice. Reed's right. We should at least hold her for a proper investigation. Can't just lynch someone on accusations. Dixon spat in the dirt, but lowered his rifle. The crowd, robbed of their violence, began to disperse, muttering threats. Thomas cut the woman's bonds. She stumbled, and he caught her arm. Can you ride? She nodded once, wary. He led her to his horse, aware of eyes watching from windows, aware he just made enemies of half the town. He took her to his ranch, gave her water and food, tended her wounds while she watched him with suspicion that slowly gave way to curiosity. Her name was Aida, which meant first to dance. She told him the cattle had died of disease, not theft, but no one would believe an Apache. She'd been gathering herbs when Dixon's men found her. Thomas offered her shelter until it was safe to return to her people. She stayed 3 days, and in that time taught him things about the land he'd never known, about reading weather and finding water, about seeing the territory as something alive rather than something to own. When she left, she placed her hand over his heart and spoke in her language. Later, A translator told him she blessed him, called him a man who found his courage when it mattered most. Thomas never saw her again, but 2 weeks later, he found a beautiful beaded pouch on his porch filled with tobacco, a gift of respect. The town never forgave him for standing against them. But Thomas slept better than he had in 5 years. He'd finally done what he should have done for his brother. He'd stood in the gap when it mattered. And sometimes that's all courage is, refusing to look away when everyone else does. If this story reminded you that standing up for what's right, even when you stand alone, is the truest form of courage, then subscribe to this channel and share it with someone who needs to find their brave voice. Because the world changes when ordinary people refuse to let injustice happen in front of them. Hit that subscribe button and let's keep these stories of moral courage alive together.